Don't forget, ko-fi.com/stopwritingalone is a real simple way to show your support for what's going on here week after week. Hi, everyone. This is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast for writers who are looking for their writing community. I know you want to find readers for your work, but I think your first step is to connect with other writers. That's what we're going to do here in the Stop Writing Alone podcast. We'll do writing prompts and other writing group activities, discover online writing communities, learn how to find local writing groups, or how to make your own. Join us as we explore, learn, and write. Hi, this is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast. This week, I wanted to bring you guys Kim A. Flodin's Wise Woman of the Woods. If you don't know the name Kim A. Flodin and you're like, who is this Kim? I feel like she's like this secret I've been keeping from the world, because Kim has been in my corner for just about 3 years now. We started together in the same podcast course and we've been side by side, but Kim is a wealth of knowledge on, for me, like all varying levels of self-care, breathing techniques, energy healing, just dealing with and tapping into our levels of intuition that serve so much, but especially our creativity. She's going to talk about all that stuff in today's interview, but also an opportunity for you to join her in a book club that I'm already signed up. I can't wait. We're going to be reading the Wim Hof Method in Kim's new book club called The Wise Words from the Woods. And not only is Kim going to lead us in discussions around what we're going to be learning in the book, but she's also going to be leading us in breathing techniques. And I can tell you, and I talk about this in the interview, I've been there firsthand with Kim in these types of teachings where she's really taking through breathing, and it's amazing. I am so looking forward to this. I wanted to not only just tell you myself what's coming up from Kim, but I wanted you to hear it from her, hear a little bit about her. It's a long episode. It's the first time I've done an interview in a while, so please bear with my rustiness. I almost decided to split the episode into two, but I said, you know what, I'm going to give the community the whole episode. You guys can decide. I know how people listen to podcasts. Sometimes you listen all at once, sometimes you pause and come back. But there's so much goodness in here. Like I said, we talk about the Wim Hof Method. And if you don't know what that is, Kim will explain intuition and how that helps us amp up our creativity, how to protect our energy so that we can really show up in the world, all different levels of self-care. And then Kim and I also talk about how our group, the group that we have that's been supporting one another, it's just a small group of women, myself, Kim, Johanna Peralta, who's Latina Living Keto over on Instagram, Emma Isaacs of the Creative Ways podcast, and Claire Oldham West of the Slimming Stories podcast. We've been together for years, and we really have all benefited from our tribe. And what we are doing now is showing up every single week on Clubhouse to share our journey in the hopes that other people can start to create tribes like that. So yes, I'm all about stop writing alone. You know that. That's why I'm here. But what I'm doing with these ladies is that we're talking about how we can stop dreaming alone, because none of those ladies are writers, right? But they're in my corner and I'm in theirs, and we're all trying to create new things together. So you're going to hear about that. You're going to hear about all this stuff. And I really am so excited to finally be sharing Kim A. Flodin with the Stop Writing Alone community. Yeah, enjoy. Hey, Kim. Thank you so much for coming and joining me. It's been a while since I've done an interview for the Stop Writing Alone community, but I've had on my mind a lot in recent weeks how I'm handling my own emotional self-care through this last year, through all of the intricacies of writing community and showing up for my writing. And you are one of the sort of pillars that I have that help me with that. And I wanted to share you with the Stop Writing Alone community. I try to in the Facebook group every now and again, but I wanted to do official introduction here on the podcast. So can you let everyone know, who is Kim A. Flodin?
Oh, Kim A. Flowden. Who is she? No, I'm Kim A. Flowden, and I am the woo-woo woman. Actually, I'm the wise woman of the woods, and I am like a lot of different things, right? I'm a Reiki master, I'm an intuitive, I'm a medium, I'm a healer. I'm I'm just a person who really just wants people to be like living their best lives and, doing their best things and feeling their best. I mean, my whole goal is just to like support people and um send people in the right direction and help them find like the best ways that they can feel good and feel supported and do their best. I guess that's basically it.
It's true. I mean, all of those things are true. This is what you offer to me, and I think everyone that truly knows you. So I thank you for that. I try to thank you on the regular. But what I would say, I guess my first question to you would be, what are some ways that you keep yourself sort of grounded in order to be able to offer that to other people?
Well, I am pretty disciplined in the terms of like I now I am doing morning pages every day, and I think that's thanks to you and reading that Julia Cameron book. And I also get up and do 3 rounds of Wim Hof breathing, 3 to 4 rounds every morning, which is I think that's a really great way just to like get a really good, like solid physical, emotional, and mental platform for your day. And I do journal on pretty regularly as well, but um yeah, I mean, I do Epsom salt baths. I try to get out into nature. I exercise. I try to exercise. Like now I'm trying to exercise. I mean, I hate exercising, but since the COVID thing started, I'm like, I just didn't feel like I was moving. So I try to exercise like 5 to 6 times a week now, which is kind of amazing for me. And I try to be kind to myself in my own thoughts, I guess. I try not to push myself. I don't want to shame myself anymore. Sometimes I just indulge myself. Last week, you know this, I sat on the couch for a whole day watching The Affair on Prime, and I was like, my mind was like, it was so interesting, Nicole, to listen to my mind, what it was saying, like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you letting yourself do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then I let it just chatter away. And finally I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing this. I don't care. I'm taking the day. I don't care. And it was awesome. So, I try to indulge myself sometimes. And I don't know. I can't remember what else I do, but I am very conscious of taking care and managing my energy and keeping myself in a good place, balanced, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is because if I don't do that, I can't help other people. I mean, if I'm a wreck and someone shows up and needs me, I'm like, I have to be able to like hold space for people and keep myself on an even keel.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know that you deal with people that often bring very heavy sort of things to you. So that's why I asked, because I feel like you don't only offer us tools like you said, Wim Hof, or even just, reminding us the importance of exercise and all of these different things, but also a model of how to show up for other people in this way, because we're all oftentimes dealing with a heaviness, sometimes from the world around us, as we've all seen in the last year, sometimes under our own roof. And I think a lot of people have struggled with that. Everybody's been dealing with these stresses in their own way. So it's, people that you love are stressed, and, how do you protect yourself from that? And then as in this community, when we delve into our writing, oftentimes we end up tapping into even old wounds that become heavy, that maybe we didn't even know were there, but our story starts to peel us open. It's Hemingway's big quote. He says, like, there's no, I'm going to paraphrase, but he basically says, writing's not a big deal. You just open a vein. And, I feel like there's such truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, definitely if you're writing memoir, but I feel like when you're writing memoir or personal essay, you go in knowing, you're like, I'm going for that thing. But I feel for fiction writers who are thinking they're going down a path of escape, and then they open the vein anyway, you can't escape. like that's just who you are. So just in terms of your exercise, because I know a lot of people get triggered when they hear the word, are you doing like high intensity aerobics, or what are you doing for yourself?
Okay. So no, I try to do, like I said, I try to do about like, it could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, but I bike ride. I go for walks. I'm not like pushing myself like crazy. The one thing that I do that's like a little bit more of a workout, it's more challenging, is I do resistance band strength training, and it's like a 30-minute exercise. And I found this couple on YouTube, and they're fabulous. And I actually kind of enjoy it, and it's kind of cool because I'm getting stronger. I'm like, what? I'm like the Hulk now. No, not really,
Very
but
cool.
yeah. So that's what I do, and I probably try to do each of those twice a week. And sometimes I go for a walk more often. Sometimes I go for a bike ride. It just depends. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, I'm going to confess again. Yesterday, I was like, I was going to do it all day long, and I didn't. I just did other stuff. And then I ended up watching a lot of Modern Family. So, hey.
Well, which is funny. And to me, like that helps me too. Like sometimes I just got to feed the soul with a little humor
Yeah.
or something feel good. And I one of the things that I always try to say to the happy campers is like, we have all of these desires, interests, things we want to do. And there's, to me, I don't feel like we should feel guilty about choosing one over the other, as long as everybody sort of gets a chance to get our attention. So it's quite possible that, yesterday the exercise thing wasn't on your docket, but you still took care of yourself in, some other way. So I love that.
I was laughing really hard, so I'm sure that I got some exercise.
Something, right? There's some data on the calorie burning effects of laughter.
Exactly.
Sure.
And laughter is healing. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to give you a moment to explain. You mentioned the Wim Hof breathing. You've taught me the Wim Hof breathing. And I do try to tell everybody about it and point them in the directions of YouTube tutorials and things of that nature. But let us know what is it, what can it do for us, and why is it like so important to you that you're doing it every day?
Yeah, okay, so this is kind of a weird and interesting story. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if it's not even interesting, definitely weird. So I was doing another breathing technique for a long time, and then I kind of soured on that. And I heard Wim on a podcast. I think it was Snap Judgment. And the guy was actually it was a story about debunking kind of like guru type people, right? So I was already
was he set up to like go after Wim in this?
Yes, he's set up.
Interesting.
Set up to go after Wim. And so I
Okay.
listened to, and I thought, oh yeah, good. Yeah. Debunk it. And then, so he goes and sees Wim and spends time with them, and he comes out like a total believer. And at that point I was kind of on the I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And then I did a little more research into Wim and started checking it out. And there's a huge Facebook group. And then pretty soon I realized, I'm like, why not try it anyway? Because if what he's saying is right, then it's true. So I checked it out, and I started doing it probably late 2017. I started doing Wim's method and taking some cold showers. And I don't honestly think I was doing it exactly right. I mean, I was just kind of like hacking my way through it. So I kind of gave it up and did it on and off through 2018. But then at the end of 2018, something brought me back to it. I can't even remember what it was, but I went back to it. Maybe I found the app, because the app was free then. And someone sent me the breathing bubble, because there's a breathing bubble. So I started doing it, and I just started to notice, I'm like, I am feeling great doing this. Plus I started doing it through my nose. I was doing it through my mouth before, and you can have trouble when you're doing it through your mouth.
When you gave me that tip, that changed everything, because you had showed me the YouTube link. And so I was doing it, and I definitely felt something, it was anytime you're focusing on your breathing, I think you're going to get some results. But when we sat and did it, and you said through your nose, I was like, wait, I don't do it like that. And that, from that moment on, I was like, what?
Yeah,
this is completely different for me.
Yeah, because in between that, when I was kind of like wondering about Wim, and then I was kind of like looking into all sorts of breathing, I checked out Buteyko, and Buteyko is all about breathing through your nose. And They say you can heal your asthma and allergies with that. And so now I literally sleep with my mouth taped shut at night. And I have way less respiratory stuff going on than I ever used to, because the whole theory there is like, you don't eat through your nose, so don't breathe through your mouth. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So anyway, so then towards the end of 2018, I just really, maybe it's, I don't know. I've been doing it for a while, probably a couple of years, but in the last probably 2 years, I've been doing it really consistently. I mean, like, he's got a calendar on the app so you can keep track, which is like, so I can go back and see, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have been showing up for this. And it's just, I don't know. I just like doing it. It makes you feel good. It helps with stress. It helps you recover quicker if you're doing something physical. Now, I've been reading his book, and he talks about the faster physical recovery. Well, I live in a mountainous area, and I go on a walk that I go up 23 stories in a mile. It's like about a mile up. So, but I'm going up 23 stories in a mile. Yeah. Well, usually I'm like, I can keep up a pretty good pace, but I have to stop 2 or 3 times and just like, Yeah. So I started over breathing on those walks now. So I'm sure people think I'm crazy. I saw some guy looked at me the other day, because I'm going up the hill, like I'm over oxygenating myself. I got almost all the way to the top, Nicole, without having to stop. It was amazing. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I didn't feel like really I felt pretty good. So you notice that. And then also, like, if you're working out, you breathe afterwards, or I'm doing it every day. So it kind of, I don't get a lot of the lactic acid buildup like I do normally. Okay. Strength training. I think it helps you sleep better for sure. If I'm like stressed out, or I have a lot of activity going on in my head before bed, I will do 2 things. I will journal it out, get that crap on paper, and then I'll do a couple rounds of Wim Hof to help me kind of just like de-stress it out. Because
that's one of the things that's one of the ways that I got my husband started on the Wim Hof, was for sleeping. He is like so hard to fall asleep. Like he's good once he's asleep. He doesn't want to get up, but falling to sleep is a struggle. So the Wim Hof has been helping him, to lay in bed and go through the process. We usually do like 3 rounds, and then just that's enough. Like, he's settled.
Yep. Yeah. It clears out your brain somehow. It just, well, because Wim says get high on your own supply, and
it's kind of like a meditation, because you're focusing on breath. He takes you through these steps. So I mean, just so people understand, it's like a there's a pattern to it. Like, you breathe about 30 times pretty deeply.
Yep.
And then you are challenged to hold your breath for as long as you can. Also, a tip you gave me is to hold the breath on the exhale. I was inhaling on that last one and not lasting any time, but you breathe it out and hold for as long as you can. And then you do an inhale and a nice deep inhale, and hold it for 15 seconds. I love that. That 15-second thing, I always want to hold on to for so much longer. I know, and it always feels great.
It does. The holds always feel really good to me too. And then the 15-second thing, what happens there is your body is releasing like adrenaline. And when you're doing the actual breathing and then the long hold, you're alkalizing your body. I mean, there's a lot of like biochemical changes that go on here. Because I mean, he's been studied by universities and medical places in both Europe and in the United States, several places. And they've proven that this guy has like figured out how to control his own physiology and your immune system.
Yeah. Well, I
cold exposure.
I picked up the Wim Hof book, because we're going to talk about it in a minute. We're going to do a reading. You're going to lead us in a reading of the book, but I did start reading the introduction, which is by a medical professional. And, it begins like, I didn't know what this guy was talking about, but here I am writing the foreword to his book. So it's like, okay, another converted believer. But is the book going to go into all of that science stuff, or is it, I mean, also we should probably talk, you mentioned that you take cold showers. People might think that that's just a wonky habit, but that's another thing from Wim as well. So
so the whole theory with him is like, you do the deep breathing, and then the cold showers is a way for you. He's about embracing discomfort. And what he says, basically, when we read the book, this is in the book, he says, we have gotten too comfortable as humans on the planet because we wear clothes. Our temperatures are always controlled. We don't ever really we don't stress our bodies into discomfort, which is actually then triggers a lot of stuff to go on in our bodies that is actually helpful and healing for us.
Yeah.
So one of the things he recommends that you do is that you take a cold shower like 5 days out of 7. And it can only be like
hard.
a minute. Oh, it is. It's hard.
So hard.
But the thing is, here's what I've noticed, because I've really, in the last probably month or 2 months, I've committed myself to the cold shower. So I have been doing them every day, and I'm writing
5 days. You're doing it every day.
I'm doing it 7 days.
No,
usually.
you're not. Oh my
Yes,
God.
but I don't have enough cold water here in California. It just doesn't get cold enough. So what I do is I take
that could be the difference between the two of us.
Well, no, listen now. Yeah, you've got cold water.
I got ice water.
Yeah, I take a picture of ice, I fill it to the top with ice, then I put the water in it, and then that'll usually last me like 6 times. I can pour it over myself. And when I get out of the shower, I am bright red because it's opening up all your veins have little like, what are they called? Like valves in them. And the valves closest to our surface aren't getting triggered that often anymore because we're not out in the cold and we're not being stressed that way. So what it does is it gets your whole cardiovascular system really working a lot better and more, efficiently than it was before. So you want to get out of there. One of the things he has you do too is put your hands. One of the challenges he has you do is you can put your hands in a bowl of ice water and try to keep it in there. That hurts like hell. But if you can build up to this stuff. I mean, it is crazy. And the other point that he makes is if you're in a cold shower, there's nothing else on your mind. It clears your mind.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'll say this. There's something else on my mind when I do a cold shower. It's Kim A. Flowden.
And you're cursing me.
I'm cursing you. I'm screaming. And I'm hoping that you're hearing me from New York all the way in California. I know you feel the vibes. Kim.
But now it's like, I have noticed now that I've been doing it probably for like 6 weeks. Like today I got in there and I really wasn't even noticing the cold water that much. I mean, like it was fascinating. It's freezing cold, but it's like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like just doing it. I was listening to a podcast while I was in there and I'm just like, doing the thing. So yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting because I'm in the forward, because again, I don't want to do too much reading before we read together. But just in the beginning where she's discussing how Wim's whole theory about this, that we aren't under stress and we need to be under stress. It really just got me thinking, maybe because it's spring and everything, about the whole gardening of it all. And, like how many of our plants actually need to be through winter in order to bloom correctly in the spring. Like it makes sense in, all of our nature that a certain level of, natural stress, not, over the top, would serve our natural parts, in a good way. So let everybody know what's going on with this book. What is the Wise Woman of the Woods offering us?
Okay. So I wasn't even thinking about doing a book club until I started reading Wim's book. And I'm like, wow, this would be a great book to do with people, because I think there's getting to be more interest on it. And I think people, especially now with COVID and everything, and we've been sedentary and we're not doing stuff, I think people are getting more interested in like how they can support their health and, just be better all the way around. And so I decided to offer a book club, and you helped me come up with the name, The Wise Words of the Woods, from the Woods, which is awesome. So I want to start it in the beginning of April. It'll be like 7 to 8 weeks. I think we'll read for 7 weeks, and I've got something kind of fun planned for the 8th week. And I want to do, the reading, discuss what we've learned, and then we'll do a round all together of the breathing. So everyone gets on the same page with the breath and understands how to do it. And who knows, maybe some brave souls will try to do some cold showers too. I don't know. But you can find all the info on my website, wisewomanofthewoods.com.
Yeah.
Page. Yeah.
And I'll put the link in the show notes, of course. But I love the idea that you're offering, not just the discussion is going to be fascinating because there's just so much to delve into here, but also offering the breathing with us. Because like I said, I was starting it, I was doing it, I was feeling like there was something to it, but it was when we had a Zoom call and we sat and did it together. I think it was you, me, and Claire, maybe.
Yeah,
Did
I
we
think
have?
so.
And I was like, oh, I was doing, this is the whole thing about coaches. They say, right, every athlete needs a coach because you can train and train and train. But if you're doing it wrong, you're not going to improve. And that is essentially what I was doing. I was like, I'm trying it. I'm feeling some stuff. But once I had that one session with you, it was like, whoa, okay, now I can feel, I feel it's a really strange thing because when I do it in the morning or the afternoon, I feel more awake.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can also do it right before bed to feel more relaxed. So I'm like, whatever. Okay. I'm just going to go with it.
Probably works with our biorhythms, I'm thinking, right?
Something. It's definitely triggering what it feels like. It triggers what I need, And so that's just a really, fascinating thing. So yeah, I think I made it clear, but I'm already signed up to read. So it's like, if you want to read with me and Kim and hear us geek out about this for 7 weeks and breathe with us.
Yeah. And Wim is a fascinating guy. I mean, he's broken 26 world records of like endurance. I mean, he's done crazy stuff. Like, I think he like swam for like a mile underneath ice. He ran a marathon in one of the deserts with no water. A 26-mile marathon.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's what drew this woman who wrote the foreword in to see him, right? Because she said, I'm skeptical as hell, but this is a guy that has done things with his body that,
they can't be done.
We didn't think could happen. So what is he doing? I needed answers. And so she's now,
One of the cool things that happened with him was that when I can't think it was a college, it was a university here. I think it might've been in Michigan or somewhere, but they shot him full of an endotoxin. I think it was E. coli. And he just did his method and he didn't get sick at all. They said, if this does affect you, you'll be down for 2 to 3 weeks. And like, that is not a great thing to be sick with. Yeah. So then they said, well, you must be a one-off. You're just a weirdo, basically. And he said, no, give me 12 people and I'll train them to do the same. And they'll shoot them with a toxin. And they did, same results. Yeah. So, I mean,
it's interesting.
Very, I mean, especially, I mean, it's like, he's kind of like proves that we're just way more capable of what we have ever believed we have been. And we've gotten too comfortable.
Yeah. I was just going to say in our day and age, especially, here in Western culture, we're very comforted. We're very protected. When you think about the things that, well, first of all, I was going to say that people like, all the way in the past did, but some people across the world are going through and how they're in the world struggling and thriving. It's like, we obviously have more within that we can work with. Yeah. So I want to go back because I didn't really get to this. You said that you're doing the morning pages. And you said it was because of a book that we read together. So
yes, I was in your book club, The Listening Path.
And go ahead, give us your unfiltered review of The Listening Path by Julia Cameron, which is an Artist's Way book. So that's why I was so eager to. I started the book club I didn't even have the book in my hands yet. I was so excited. So Kim, how'd it go for you?
Well, I enjoyed the book club. I did not enjoy the book. And honestly, I told you in the beginning, I'm like, I tried reading The Artist's Way in like the 90s and I just could not get into it. And I thought, okay, you change over your lifetime. So I'm like, I'll give this woman another chance. Well, that was wrong.
I dare say I'd like you to give The Artist's Way another chance, but I can't disagree too much with The Listening Path. And I don't, I haven't shared this with the audience yet, but it was the exercises I thought were very cool. Like the things that we were tasked to do every single week. I think there was a lot there, and I can see why it was believed that there was going to be a really cool book to sell. But I didn't feel like the connective tissue in between really
It could have been a
added
pamphlet.
to it. Yeah, it could have just been like, the exercises. So, but yeah, I crack up, but at least you got the morning pages out of it. And so you've continued doing them even now
I'm
that
still doing them. I do it in the morning. Yeah. I don't think I've missed whatever it was. Well, since we started,
right.
I've
Was
been
that
doing them.
February, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And
Not
it's,
bad.
it's good. I can't say that I've always been a journaler. I mean, I have literally boxes of journals behind me here.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm like having any huge, like, oh my God, but I'm like, okay, I've had some weird dreams. So I write those down. I'm like, okay, well, and I'm like, what do I do with them? I'm never supposed to read them again. Right.
So in the artist way, the idea is that you don't read them right away. But when you get to the 8th week, she sort of says, all right, you've been exploring all this other stuff about you. You're probably ready if you want to go back.
Okay. I don't know if I must have 8 weeks worth already.
At least. Yeah. And so it's like, if you want to, and it's really interesting. I have found there have been times that I've done the artist way and I've not gone back. And then there have been times that I have. And when I've gone back, it's interesting to see the actions that I've taken as a result. It's like, oh, look at what I was writing about, like a crazy person in the first, couple of weeks, and then it disappeared because I finally did something about it. And also to see like the changes in emotion, throughout.
Yeah.
It's really, it could be.
I would say for me, what I've noticed for me personally this year is like, I am like not doing as much as I have really backed off. Like I've taken my foot off the pedal is what I have done in my life. And this, because I've talked to you guys, I've talked to our group about it, because I am just like, and it kind of does maybe correspond with the artist way. I don't know, but I've just kind of like, I am kind of letting life guide me instead of trying to manage life or control life. It's weird. And I can't seem to shift out of that. And it seems to be going fine. I mean, it seems to be going fine. I'm getting new clients. People are showing up. Things are happening.
If you think about it, 2020 sort of forced all of us into that. We all had to relinquish control because it was just like, oh, so this thing's happening. I guess I have to go with it because there's nothing else to do. So for those of us on the woo-woo train, it's an interesting ride, because when you are listening, as Julia's book, encouraged us to do, and paying attention, you kind of see that it seems like life sort of points the direction in a lot of cases, right?
Yeah. I always thought that. It's just that I think I was always like more of the, like, I think I was always of the mindset, like I had to prove myself to life.
Oh, yeah.
But now I don't know if it's age or wisdom. We'll call it wisdom. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Well, or what is my word? I want this word to work, but it's a struggle for me. It's Kimsdom, which is like wisdom from Kim.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just am like, I don't know, but something, it feels like.
Well, I feel like it goes hand in hand with what you said earlier, that you're being kinder to yourself.
Probably.
Right? Because a lot of that proving yourself is for who?
Yeah, exactly.
It's for somebody else, usually.
Yeah.
You mentioned briefly, and we are always talking about our group.
Yes.
We should sort of shine a light on our Saturday afternoon activities.
Yes.
So, do you want to take the ball and tell everybody what I'm talking about?
Yes, we have a group of women. Nicole and I are part of a group of women that have been together now. Are we going on our 3rd year? I don't know for sure.
This is 21. Yeah, it would be the 3rd, because all I remember is that our first podcasting course we took together was 2018.
And then we did the other one.
So that was 19. August. I think that started in August. So yeah, once we hit August, it's like 3 years for a chunk of us.
Yeah. So we've been together there's 5 of us, and we've been together for going on 3 years now. And we started kind of as a mastermind group, but because we have 2 women in England, 2 women on the East Coast, and myself on the West Coast, it was hard for us to find time to meet on Zoom, get a time all together. So we switched to the Voxer app, which I recommend heartily. That is another great way to keep in touch with people. And we chat every single day. I mean, I haven't listened to you guys yet today, but I know I have like about 40 messages in there to catch up on. And it's been awesome, because there's always someone there to like give you feedback or help you with something. And at this point, we're like more like, as much as we are business minded, we are also sister minded, because we give each other advice on every aspect of our lives. There isn't one thing I don't think any of us are afraid to go in there and say,
Not at all.
this
No.
is
And I was
my
going to,
personal life.
right. I was going to say, I think that it fits really well in this conversation, because if we talk about emotional self-care, I think that group is a huge part of it for me.
And I do think, and we've talked about this too before, that I'm more apt to talk to you guys about some of my personal stuff than I am maybe people that are like close to me, like close friends. Cause it's like, I don't know. It's like, there's just like that, there's a safety net there.
Yeah.
In a weird way that that you don't always get sometimes with people who are even close to you. You don't feel safe to maybe talk to them about the stuff. So anyway, but we are now meeting every Saturday on Clubhouse at 11:30 my time. So PST, Pacific time. And what is it, your time then?
It's 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And by the time this airs, it'll be back to 7:30 p.m. GMT. They didn't do their daylight savings at the same time as us.
Right. The reason we're doing that on Clubhouse is because for a long time now, we have all realized that we had something really special going on here, that we found like 4 other people that like we all gelled together really well. And it's powerful. And so our whole thing on Clubhouse is just to talk about how you can find your people and, find that support system for yourself, because if you can do that, that's something you cannot put a price on. And I should say, we don't pay each other.
I was just going to say, right. And it is literally priceless.
We're all volunteers to the group, but I wouldn't even say we look at it like that. I mean,
we don't, but it's true. Whenever the conversation of Mastermind comes up, I think we have to clarify that, because so many people do pay for the Mastermind experience.
And they have one person kind of running it, and we don't.
Yeah. And we sort of just stumbled into, we need each other for, just support.
Yeah. And we all are like, we're all doing different things. I mean, you're the writing thing. I'm the woo-woo person. Emma's doing like the design and creative ways podcast stuff. Claire's doing the Slimming Stories podcast and all of her other stuff that she's getting into now. This and all that. And then Joanna's doing the keto thing. And we all are very much different kind of focused, but that doesn't seem to, that actually I think is better for us in a way, because we're not in similar fields. So we all support each other. And I've learned a lot about a lot of different things just by hanging out with you guys.
Yeah. I think there's the learning aspect. There's the new conversation that we get from everybody's different corner, like, well, my community thinks about it this way and my community thinks about it this way. And then, also because we're all in different spaces, we all have our different like zone of genius that we then bring, like what is the thing that we can offer each other. It really was honestly like the definition of serendipity, just a happy accident that we fell in together. But it is something that we feel like, looking back, now that we've had 3 years, we can look back and see what the happy accidents were, to try to translate it to other people and say, you can make this happen. We can see the things that were important that we weren't thinking this was going to be like a 3-year long friendship relationship at all. I mean, goodness, I wasn't planning. I was just like, I'm in this course. I'm not understanding. Do you have answers?
Right.
Do you have answers?
Looking for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's been really, it's been a happy experiment. And, I mean, it's just there. It's just awesome, because I don't anticipate any of us going anywhere. We're just all there.
Now we're at the point where we're like, lifetime, obviously.
It's a lifetime membership.
Right. Yeah. You're stuck with me.
Guaranteed for a lifetime.
Right. And so I did a previous episode on like what is Clubhouse, but essentially it's like a space where everybody meets audio, it's just audio. There's no video. And so we're basically hosting like a 1 hour long panel / conversation surrounding this whole idea of what we're calling now Stop Dreaming Alone. So we have a club. It's the Stop Dreaming Alone Club. And then every Saturday we are going to have another conversation. And each week we're picking a new topic to sort of delve into, but we are always open for questions for anybody that's there. Clubhouse is right now limited to anybody that's only on iOS. But that does include if you have an iPad, even if you have, an Android phone. And it is invite only. I do have invites. So if you're somebody in the Stop Writing Alone community, DM me and perhaps, we can set you up. But, if I still have invites when this goes live. So it's, and they are working. They keep saying that they are working to open it up to Android, but it is still in beta. And we're looking to possibly be in other spaces, like maybe get a Facebook group or something for people that can't get to Clubhouse. But for now, that's what we're doing. Baby steps. Steps.
And Clubhouse is live only. So if you miss it, you miss it. That's
Perfect, yeah.
The whole thing about Clubhouse. And if anyone follows me on Instagram, go to my bio, and the Stop Dreaming Alone link is in my bio. So you can join the club.
So I'm really happy that you mentioned your Instagram, because can you let people know how you're showing up on Instagram on the regular to?
Oh, on Instagram.
Yeah.
I do 2 videos a week on Instagram. One is Wednesday Wisdom, which I forgot to say that yesterday, but yeah, Wednesday Wisdom, where I just kind of come in and talk about whatever's on my mind. And yesterday I talked about, because you and I had been talking about this, the 3 ways to protect your energy and how important that is, especially if you're empathetic or a highly sensitive person, because we tend to take on other people's stuff that isn't ours. And it can become debilitating if you don't know how to manage it. Right. So, and then on Fridays, I do a card reading, which is pretty fun and popular. And I don't use like the guidebooks usually. I just kind of intuit what the cards are saying. So that's what I do over there. Plus I share my nature pictures because I'm passionate about taking nature shots, and they're just over there for you. If you need to look at fun nature.
So much fun.
Yeah. Yep, those are healing for
So
sure.
since this is probably going to go live like next week, can you give us the three tips for protecting your energy that you shared in your video? Yeah.
Yes. So, like I said, like I said in my video, life is hard and there's a lot that goes on and there's a lot of drama. And this week we had another shooting, a mass shooting. And, if you're sensitive at all and you pay attention to that stuff, you will feel it in your body, and it can become devastating. I used to be not great at managing my energy. I was too open all the time. And when that stuff would happen, or I would hear about other people, something someone else was going through, I would be like rattled for days and probably not sleeping great and not feeling good. So
I do want to say, like, I think that's why we've had this conversation so frequently, because I've suddenly like reopened up in that way, that I'm hypersensitive to these things. And it's just like, I'm reading something or seeing something and feeling it everywhere. And like, coming to so you have given me some tips, and I started reading an article. So the day you sent me the message about the things to do, I started reading an article about the stuff going down at the border. And I was like 2 sentences in.
Right.
And I was like, I want to know what's happening, but I don't think I can make it through this.
Right.
And then I was like, wait. Kim just gave me the things. Let me try one of the things. And what did I think I zipped myself up. I think that's what I did.
Yep.
Oh, and I even said that I did the chant of what's yours is yours. Yep. Right before I started, I said, what's theirs is theirs. What's mine is mine. And then I read through the article like a normal person. And I was like, what the heck? Yeah. So I even said to myself, I'm like, it could be a total, what is it called now? I can't, placebo effect. I'm like, it could be placebo effect, but I don't even care right now. But it was such a black and white difference, like so extreme, that it could not have just been placebo effect. So I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, I don't think I don't think it is necessarily placebo effect.
It was too strong of a switch.
And everything's energy. And even they say the placebo effect can be just as effective, if not more effective than the actual.
Yes.
Whatever.
And that's what I was kind of saying to myself. Like, it could be what others would call placebo effect, but that to me is a treatment in and of itself. Yeah. Because if it is a psychological thing that I'm taking on this energy, then it's a psychological treatment that I need to stop taking on the energy. So go tell your thing.
So the three ways, three things you can do to help protect your energy if you're a person that kind of gets sucked into all this kind of stuff is the first one, you can do the zipping up technique, which is basically you like pretend you've got like a big long jacket on that goes like to your thighs. And just zip it up and it goes all the way up over your head. I'm showing Nicole, like you can't see me, but it's just like zip up and like straight up your middle over your head. And what that does is it closes in your auric field. You want to know something kind of interesting about this. And I learned this from a different healer, but she was talking about the reason that like the Catholic Church has you do the cross, that breaks up your auric field. So that would make you more open to what they're saying on a different energetic level, right? Because you are literally
slicing it
through both ways, your auric field.
And then you're opened up. Yes.
And in the military, what do they do to show respect to their elders? They do a salute. That smacks your third eye. And so that opens up your third eye. So that also is a way to cut it open. So, so that's
very interesting.
Isn't it? I thought
I just love, I mean, as a writer, I can't help but love like anything that dives into symbols, meanings, this and that. So even if it's like all hooey, but I'm on the woo-woo train with you, but even if it's not, it all fits in like a story sense that, if zipping up is closing it and I'm protecting the whole body area, and you're talking about like the chakras, right? The
chakras.
And so you would be slicing through them in the middle or slicing the third eye. Fascinating.
Right. Okay, so you can remember to zip up. So before you're heading into something that you think might trigger you, zip it up. And then the second thing that I always do as a healer, if I'm going to deal with people, I mean, this doesn't matter if I'm having a session with somebody or if I might just be going into like a group of friends and I know one of them might be getting off on something. I set an intention, which intentions are powerful, which is I say, what's yours is yours. What's mine is mine. You keep yours and I keep mine. And like, I'm basically saying, I'm not taking anything that I don't want from you. And I'm not letting you give me anything that I don't want from you. And I'm not going to do the same. I'm going to respect your, energetic boundaries and do the same for you. So that is really also a powerful thing to do. And then the third thing I do, which I use this a lot, more like if I'm in crowds of people or it's something, something like that, I put myself in a disco ball. Because that is a mirrored surface. That's all different mirrors everywhere. And if you're walking through a crowded airport, which I love airports, but a lot of people are stressed out when they travel and you can run into some really heavy stuff. So I just bob through in a disco ball. So anything that's coming at me, that's hitting at me just bounces right back to the person that's shooting it out. So those are the three things that I do and have found to be effective for me. And, I can pretty much read most things now. I cannot visually watch I cannot watch violence or stuff like that. I just know that about myself. Yeah. I can read it to some degree. I started reading a book a couple of weeks ago and it got into like a really grisly murder scene. And I was like, nope, this is too much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just, you have to be aware, but I can go pretty neutral on a lot of things, but if I'm doing it, like if it's something where I'm sitting down to watch a movie or something or reading a book for pleasure, I'm not expecting to have to do that normally because I don't normally even go towards that.
Right.
But if I'm reading a news story or something, some of them still get to me. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. So you just have to be kind of aware of it, but I am way more neutral on things than I used to be before. I mean, I don't walk around triggered and feel, out of whack for days on end like I used to. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I was shocked. I was initially shocked when I first started reading the article that it was so quick to get to me. But like I said, it's been a couple of weeks of just this like hyper, I don't even know, like my antenna were up super. And so I just tried it and I was like, well, this will be an interesting test. It's not like I'm dealing with a person, I'm dealing with words.
Right.
And it just, it got me there. And like we were both saying, it could just be the intention of Nicole. You will not take this on. You're just going to read this because here's the issue. It's not that I don't want to feel for what's going on in the world or in that. But I
Right,
was
right.
at such a point of emotion that I would be completely unable to take action to help. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have been sitting there devastated about this
Mhm.
and feeling as, and it's ridiculous. It's like, it's not ridiculous, but
It's
like, to me, it's
paralyzing.
like, I'm not there. What is happening?
Right, right.
And I mean, to circle back around, but I do feel like this is part of that conversation of like what Wim Hof is talking about, that I have been very blessed in this last year to not be, like, yes, I'm stuck in quarantine or whatever, but like, I've been very comfortable for this
Mhm.
entire year. So the lack of stress permeating my day to day on that level, I think makes me like pull it in some sort of way, because the body is like, we should have been stressed by now.
Mhm.
we
Right,
need
right, right.
we need our daily stress of whatever it is. So it's really really fascinating stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
great.
that's where like Wim Hof, it helps calm. I think that what happens when we get like that, kind of like when we're hypersensitive like that, our nervous system is on high alert all the time, and
Yeah.
it gets triggered really easily. So I think Wim Hof, the breathing that he does, and even the cold showers, it helps like smooth it out.
Yeah.
So even though we are still sensitive and we care very deeply about this stuff, we don't allow it to like debilitate ourselves
Right.
anymore or walk around paralyzed. And
No, I want to be able to do something. I want to be
right.
able to help. I want to be
Yeah.
able to take action for, people in my community, for, my family, for, if there's something that I see in a news story and I know I can do something about it, I want to be able to get up and do something about it,
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
it's fascinating. But
It
yeah,
is.
I thank you for all of that, because I think that is going to be helpful to at least some people. I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to be like, what are you people talking about?
Exactly.
What
And that's
is
okay.
wrong with you? And lucky you, Nicole, that you can only be stressed out about articles. um
Right.
you know but yeah, so I want to just also ask you about, we did Sam Kimberly hosted an intuition um and creativity sort of mastermind course with
Mhm.
you. I mean, and I have done your intuition challenge with Wise Woman of the Woods. So I don't want to take you too much longer, because we're already over an hour here. But what are some tips that you have for writers or creatives in general for tapping into their intuition? And maybe just briefly, if you can say, what is the importance of tapping into your intuition for your creativity and your um, perception?
Well, I think if you are able to like trust your intuition and follow it, I think intuition and creativity go hand in hand, right? I mean, so many times, like I've done I'm a artist of coloring books, and so many times I have just been sitting and I've actually seen a vision in my head of what to draw, and one of them was the Wim Hof thing. I drew a Wim Hof coloring page, and I don't know where those come from. Those come from my intuition. But
Mm,
if I'd been shut down and not like, if I'd been questioning everything in my that shows up for me, I would have just ignored it.
right.
But intuition to me and creativity are both about allowing yourself to be in the flow, and just being open to what's coming through you and what's happening outside you as well, because intuition, your spirit will guide you if you're paying attention to what's around you and your environment, right? Like I talk about that, I go outside, and if I have like a dragonfly come and sit down by me, you do this too.
I know.
I immediately check it out. What's the dragonfly telling me? And it might be something exactly the answer that I'm looking for right then, to like that leads me to something that has to do with creativity, because I'm trying to figure out something that I'm going to talk to people about or whatever. So it's about paying attention to your environment and just trusting yourself, and doing there are like different exercises and stuff you can do. And matter of fact, that intuition package is on my website now as a freebie.
Oh,
So if
great.
you're into this kind of stuff, I think it's 6 different exercises I've got on there that you can do to kind of enhance your intuition along with your creativity. And there's some fun things in there. And some of it gets a little bit into the psychic stuff. Psychic stuff and intuition are, I think, in a way different. But then I think the more intuitive you become, the more you open yourself up to all the other psychic type stuff. Because the more open you get, the more open you get. And, and I think that's, yeah. So yeah. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, no, I love that you have that packet available, because that was something that's basically the stuff that you took us through on the intuition challenge. We had a blast doing it. And I mean, those of us that did it, we're still talking about, I saw a butterfly and, like all the different things. So it's really fun, very simple stuff to do. But it's like, once you start paying attention, these things start happening for you. And I think many writers are sort of already tapped into their muse and sort of buying in, like, yes, I'm going to trust that. But I love that what you offer kind of helps even open that up further, so that we can really amp it up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's some fun exercises over there for sure. And if you take the time to do them, you might blow your own mind, because I mean, every time I've done them with people who are like, oh, I'm not intuitive. And then they're like, what? What happened? And I'm like, see, everybody's got it. It's just a skill you need to use like anything else. You have to tap into it and just let it.
Yeah. I think you had mentioned that it's like something, because a lot of people, there's that big debate, can creativity be taught? And it's like, yeah, well, you got to practice, right? You got to practice all these things. You have to practice that muscle of being creative. And the same thing goes for intuition. And I agree with you. I do think they walk hand in hand, that if you practice your intuition, you will be open to seeing things in new and different sort of angles. And that's just creative thinking. So you're walking the walk.
Yep.
This has been awesome, Kim. Is there anything else that you want to share with the Stop Writing Alone peeps?
I can't think of anything. I mean, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We went all over the place. So thank you for putting up with my rusty interviewing skills. But I will put all the links in the show notes, and the Wim Hof reading group will be happening in this April, right?
Yeah, I'm going to start it in April. I'm waiting to get people signed up, and then we'll figure out what the best time is for all of us. I don't have it. I don't have an exact date, but I'm thinking the beginning of April, and then it'll go, like I said, 7 weeks, and I think maybe 8, because I've got something fun planned for that last. If we want to go 8, I've got something fun planned.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. And plus breathing in a group, there's power there. If we all are breathing in that same rhythm, just think about that. That's powerful.
Yeah. That's really fascinating, because it reminds me of, you'll cringe at this, the Artist Way. And I've done the Artist Way on my own, but when I did it in a group, it was so enhanced. So and I mean, I'm all about stop doing stuff alone. So let's stop breathing alone.
Yeah, stop breathing alone.
All righty, Kim. Thank you so much. Okay, so seriously, all of the links will be in the show notes. You want to sign up for Kim's book club, you can find it there. Just to check out Kim's website, of course, it's there, her Instagram as well, and that link to get the intuition workbook that she was talking about during the episode, as well as a link to the people that she's found on YouTube that she likes for her resistance band training, and Wim Hof's Facebook page. There's a bunch of stuff in the show notes. Of course, a link to the Stop Dreaming Alone club page if you are on the Clubhouse app. And like I said in the episode, if you have an iOS device, if you have either an iPhone or an iPad and you are interested in joining Clubhouse, I do happen to still have invites as of this recording, so you can private message me, and we can see if we can get you onto the app if it's something you're interested in. But thank you so much, and I hope to see some of you in Kim's reading group. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm so happy I finally was able to share Kim A. Flodin with the Stop Writing Alone community. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for tuning in as always. Have a fantastic week. Happy April. I hope everybody's getting ready with all their various writing challenges. I will see you on the interwebs. Don't forget that Friday is another writing exercise. It's Friday Night Writes over on the YouTube channel, the MV Rivera YouTube channel. And since this is the first official Friday of April, you will be getting a writing prompt tool. So not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to tune in. And if you missed it, last week was our writing prompt party. Don't forget, also in the show notes is the link to sign up so that you don't miss next month's. But last month's was just a great, a huge group of people. About 15 people showed up. So lots of wonderful stories, all coming out of one wonderful prompt. And that's up on the YouTube channel for you as well. All right. It's already been a long enough episode. I'm going to say thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you again next week. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the Stop Writing Alone podcast wherever you're listening to this episode today. Then connect with us on Facebook at Stop Writing Alone Facebook page or in the Stop Writing Alone with Nicole Rivera Facebook group. Check Instagram or Twitter where I'm at NV_Rivera to find links to our email newsletter. Recording, hosting, editing, producing. It's so much work. Disaster has struck. I finished my coffee. Tell me coffee is coming. ko-fi.com/stop writing alone.